hear it?
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Good. So just let's everybody mute.
Oh, happy birthday, dearest Willa Cather. And believe me, I think of you nearly every moment of every day. Can you hear me? If you can, I would most appreciate it if you would give me a sign. Oh my goodness. I didn't expect to see anyone else here. Why, you must be some of Willa Cather's loyal readers. How nice of you to have remembered her birthday. Oh, and what a great day it was. December 7th, 1873. I know it says 1876 on the tombstone. But when I had it made, I told a tiny figure. But at Willa Cather's request, she didn't want people to know her real age. Oh, and she certainly didn't look it. Oh, my goodness. Where are my manners? I've forgotten to introduce myself. I'm nobody. You've never heard of me. My name is Edith Lewis. I was Willa Cather's secretary. For nearly 40 years, I had the privilege of serving that great lady. Oh, and let me tell you, she was an exceptional person. Oh, yes. Whenever she would just speak to me, I would be, well, mesmerized by the power of her words. Then, when I read her best-selling books like My Antonia and Death Comes to the Archbishop, I was even more in awe of her talent. In pleasant weather, she liked to go outside and read what she had just written to me. Oh, those were sweet times. The dear little chipmunks would run up and down the trees as if delighted by what they were hearing. Then a mole would poke his head out of a hole, trying to listen in on her next great masterpiece. But, there was one book she never wrote, her autobiography. I used to ask her when she would write it, and she would shake her head and laugh. Oh, Edith, if they find out who I really am, they'll ban my books. Oh, but now you're all here to celebrate her birthday. Oh, how lovely. I believe if she were here today, she would see that you do want to know the real Willa Cather. Maybe if we're quiet for just a moment and go into our hearts and call her spirit, Willa Cather will visit us and tell us her story. Are you with me? Mm-hmm. Sure. I'll ask her. Just a moment. Oh, please come and visit us, Willa Cather. Oh, please. Your readers want to meet you. Oh, please. Oh. Oh, all right, Edith. For God's sakes, that's enough. Call me William, or Willie, or Bill, or even Dr. William Cather. Willa, what have you done to your hair? I cut it off so I wouldn't have to be a girl, Ma. No one listens to them. Willa, you can't behave like this. And why the heck not? Watch your language. It's not ladylike. Who wants to be a lady? Willa, you try my patience. I don't want folks to think I approve of your ways. Just walk a few steps behind me when we go downtown. Poor Ma, I was a handful. We'd recently moved to Nebraska from Virginia. We had to get out. Somebody burnt down our barn because my grandparents backed the Union during the Civil War. Then the government passed the Homestead Act and Pa got free land in Nebraska. Oh, they practically had to drag me there. When I got off the train, I burst into tears. There's nothing here but a bunch of grass. I want to go home. See, in Virginia we had beautiful mountains and rivers and a big old brick homestead for a lot of room for me and my 3 brothers and sisters. Here, people live in sod houses. I mean, the walls are made out of dirt. Disgusting. And trees are so rare here. We visit them as if they're people. But slowly, this deserted place grows on me. I go to a 1-room schoolhouse for 3 months, then we get snowed in for the winter. When I discover Pa's big collection of books, I act out Nicholas Nickleby and Oliver Twist every night for my brothers and sisters. But Shakespeare's my favorite. I go through all his plays in less than a month. I like Viola in Twelfth Night the best. She dressed like a boy, too. As I am man, my state is desperate for my master's love. As I am woman, oh, alas the day, what thriftless sighs shall poor Olivia breathe. O time, thou must untangle this, not I. It is too hard a knot for me to untie. While I'm busy acting Viola, Paul gives up farming and gets a new job in the big city of Red Cloud, Nebraska. 2,000 people, real schools, churches, an opera house, even a cheese factory. Delicious. Ma tries to make new friends. My wayward ways don't help, especially when she hears a neighbor lady tell someone, if she were my child, before I'd let her dress like that, I'd take a switch to her. Then Reverend Simpson preaches a sermon about me. Women shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man. Neither shall a man put on a woman's garment. For all that do so are an abomination unto the Lord. I fell asleep. Why in the world would the Lord mind if I wore pants? People snub me after church. Who cares? Most of them just want to gossip about who's sweet on who or complain about the prices in Miner's General Store. Ma still makes me go to church every Sunday. I spend the time daydreaming about all the great things I'm going to do when I get out of this dumb old town away from all the stupid people here. First, I think I want to become a doctor. I asked Dr. McKeeby if I can help him, but he says, oh, no, Willa, it's not for girls. You'd probably faint at the sight of blood. I tell him, I'll screw my courage to the sticking place. And I show him I mean business. When he has to cut off a man's leg, I give the patient chloroform. And I never flinch. Thrilling. Even though most folks in town snub me because of my strange ways, I do have one friend. My neighbor's servant girl, Annie Sadillac. She's a bohemian immigrant. I follow her around as she cleans the house, and she tells me stories of life in the old country. Her family got free land here too, but things didn't work out so well for them. Annie tells me the crops failed, the weather went against us. And one day, our papa go to the barn with his rifle. I was the one who found him. I can never hear that story without giving her a hug. She's so beautiful. And holding her in my arms and feeling her wet cheeks pressed against mine, I promise her I'll always remember you, Annie. I graduate from high school when I'm 16, and I give the valedictory speech at commencement. People are impressed, even Reverend Simpson, though I don't think he understands it. So's my pa. He borrows money to send me away to college. He didn't do that for my brothers. When I leave, he tells me, don't tell the others, Willa dear, but you were always my favorite. You got something special. I arrived at the University of Nebraska in Lincoln. It's the first big city I've ever seen. The professor calls the roll, Willa Cather. I stand up. Call me William. At first, my heart is set on becoming a doctor, but then something happens to change all that. I write a paper on Thomas Carlyle, and my professor sends it to the Nebraska State Journal. They publish it. Well, when I see my words in print, it has a hypnotic effect on me. I'm a junior English class, and I'm just a freshman. After a few days of being treated like a genius, I decide, that's it. I'm becoming a writer. I immerse myself in every great book I can get my hands on. Oh, wow, this is fantastic. Then I decide I want to become editor of the college literary magazine, The Lasso. My male classmates laugh at me. Yeah, but you're a girl, aren't you? I tell them, I'm more of a man than you'll ever be. I get the job. It is there that I meet Louise Pound. Rust-colored hair, 19-inch waist. One day after class, I tell her, I'm going to be a greater writer than Henry James. And she says, really? Well, I'm going to be a college professor. Well, don't your parents want you to get married? Oh, no. They know I'm a new woman. Well, what in the world is that? It's a movement of women who don't want to bother with traditional roles. So that's what I am. I'm a new woman. Fantastic. That's what we both are, William. I'd take a chance and invite Louise back to my place for tea. Once inside, I pull out a book I've been hiding away. Louise, have you ever read Daudet's Sappho? No, I can't say that I have. Listen to this. L'amour, jeune et honnête. La seule amour. Oh, William, that sounds wicked. Could I borrow it? She smuggles it out of the building. A few days later, she tells me she loved it. And she gives me a kiss. Whoa. Louise writes the plays. We acted them together. I'm Diamond Witherspoon in her play, The Perjured Palladian. Here's my famous line. The curfew shall not ring tonight. It brings the house down. After the show, her parents invite me over. I entertain them with my stories of prairie life. I notice her botanist brother Roscoe glaring at me. I try to include him, but he leaves the room without a word. Well, you can't please everybody. Then school's over, and I've got to go back to Red Cloud for the summer. I write Louise every day, but she hardly ever answers. Finally, I pour my heart out to her. I am sick and in affliction, and you visit me not. Is it that Dupuy girl? Or worse yet, some boy? When I called you love at the May Day party, you didn't call me love back. I am in a state of internal revolution. Come thou down and deliver up my soul, and do me a kindly service and bring your pistol with you. No answer. I mope around the house. Then, one day I get a card. She's coming! Hallelujah! Oh, I prepare for that visit like a general preparing for battle. Finally, the day arrives. I pick Louise up at the train station in my buckboard, and then I ride her all over the prairie with one hand on the reins and the other on her. On the way out of town, she tells me the Dupuy girl is getting married. Hallelujah! I give that whip a crack and we gallop out of town, shrieking our heads off. We stop at an open field and we spend the afternoon jumping in haystacks and rolling around in a long prairie grass. Heads turn as we drive back into town all sweaty and covered with straw. Who cares? I have my Louise. My darling Louise. Then when we go back to school in the fall, Louise and I do everything together. One night, her brother Roscoe visits me at the Lasso office. He throws some letters on the table. I recognize my handwriting. Those are private. Where did you get those? It doesn't matter. You are never to see my sister again. Yeah, well, let Louise speak for herself. She asked me to speak for her and our entire family. I don't believe you. Miss Cather, Louise and I have had a little talk. She never wants to see you ever again. Well, Louise and I are best friends. Your relationship is an actus reus. Hey, spare me your Latin. Speak English. All right. Let me be plain. Your friendship is unnatural. It has to end. You are an invert. Get out of here, you big bully! Miss Cather, my family is one of the largest donors to this university. Give up my sister, or we will see to it you are thrown out of this school. The next issue of the Lasso features a story based on Roscoe. Oh, I change his name. And then I write, he bullies people, browbeats them, Latins them into a corner, and botanies them into a shapeless mess. Louise never speaks to me again. When I graduate, I put away my men's clothes. William Cather is dead. Pittsburgh. New job, reviewing plays for the Pittsburgh Daily Leader. I moved to the city of dreadful dirt to get as far away from Nebraska and Louise and my old life as I can. I become very well known around town and even receive a marriage proposal from a handsome doctor. But I tell him, sorry, Preston, but married nightingales seldom sing. One day, after seeing a play I'm reviewing, I go backstage to the dressing room of a leading lady. Suddenly the door opens, and the most beautiful woman I've ever seen sweeps in, wearing a full-length white ermine coat and diamond chandelier earrings. She looks like a Gibson girl. For a moment, I'm speechless. It's like staring at the sun. Her name is Isabel McClure. She's the daughter of a prominent judge, and her mother is a melon. But above all, Isabel is a patron of the arts. She takes my hand. Oh, Miss Cather, I've read your reviews, and I've heard you speak at various functions. I must say I'm very impressed with your talent. Oh, and I'm impressed with your beauty, dear lady. It isn't long before Isabel and I are going out together nearly every night. Oh, we dine at the finest restaurants and keep company with the cream of Pittsburgh society. But her company is all I want. That summer, we lie in the grass in Shenley Park and read Keats together. Then in the winter, we adjourn to my place. It's so cold in there, poor Isabel has to keep her coat on. One day she says, "Oh, Molly dear," that's her pet name for me. "Molly dear, I have a brilliant idea. Why don't you leave this shabby flat and move in with me and my family in Squirrel Hill? We can set you up in a lovely study for your writing, and you'd have plenty of heat." I'd love that, Isabel, but would I have my own bedroom? We could share a bedroom. Oh, sounds wonderful, but what would your family think? Oh, they won't mind. Leave them to me. Well, when her sister hears about it, she moves out. Her father says, "No, Isabel, this will not do. You should be looking for a husband." Isabel stares at him. "Father, if you deny me this, I'll move out too." So I go to live at Shay, the goddess. Servants bring me tea every morning on a silver tray, and Isabel showers me with attention. That is, when she's not entertaining the young men her father insists that she meet. I remember those long afternoons when I'd sit upstairs trying to write, and I would hear Isabel and her young men laughing downstairs. Aren't I enough for her? Oh, she said she's only trying to placate her parents. I wonder. Yet, I always forgive her. That summer, she takes me on my first trip to Europe. While I'm there, for some reason, I keep writing poems about the prairie I'd wanted to escape. When I get home, I have enough for a whole book. But nobody will publish them. Then Isabel pays some money to a vanity press, and April Twilights is published. The next year, I publish a collection of short stories called The Troll Garden. I based one of my characters on my Aunt Frances. Oh, I'll change her name. But she and my entire family is furious when I describe her weathered skin and ill-fitting false teeth. Ma writes to me, Willa dear, if you can't say something nice, don't say it at all. Oh, I know you're a new woman, but I can't help wishing you'd give up this silly writing and meet a nice young man and settle down and have a family. Isabel tries to comfort me. Oh, don't worry, dearest. I predict it's only the beginning of a great career. Well, at least the famous publisher S.S. McClure likes my writing. He prints some of my stories in his magazine. Miss Cather, come up to New York City and work for me. I want you to help me make McClure's magazine the most popular one in this country. I'm on my way. I can feel it. When I tell Isabel, she says, yes, but, Molly, dear, we never see each other. Oh, well, then come with me. No, I can't. I'll support you. Oh, we'd starve on what you're making. Well, then you could get a job. Me? I've never worked a day in my life. Izzy, take a chance on me. I know I'm going to do great things in New York. Come on, come on. Stop hounding me. I told you, I can't. Why are you such a coward? How dare you? I have to think about my place in society. I can't just live openly with you. And why not? You don't know anybody in New York. Well, it would break my parents' heart. So you care more about them than you do about me? I'd lose my inheritance. So it's just about the money, is it? No, I'm not as brave as you. Give me more time. Yeah, all right. Then we'll visit often. And when your parents are gone, then you'll come. It's a possibility. 1906, McClure's magazine, New York City. When I walk in the door, the whole place is empty. Mr. McClure comes out of his office. Miss Cather, my entire staff just resigned to form their own magazine. You're the new assistant editor. Whoa, I jump at the chance. Before long, I'm interviewing Theodore, Dreiser, and Mark Twain. I help Mr. McClure hire a new staff. Together we lead the way in muckraking journalism. We go up against big corporations. Our work results in antitrust legislation. McClure's becomes the most popular magazine in this country. Oh, it's all very exciting. But the trouble is, I don't want to be a journalist. I dream of writing great novels like the writers I'm meeting. But how can I give up a steady paycheck? What would I write about? I move into a small apartment just off of Washington Square. It is there that I meet a struggling young writer named Edith Lewis. I mentor her and try to encourage her writing, but she says, oh no, it's chicken scratching compared to yours, Willa Cather. Call me Willa, you don't need to use both names. I could never do that. I respect you too much. To speak your first and last names together is an honor. I hire her to be a proofreader at McClure's, and she quickly becomes my secretary, though it is embarrassing when she tells people, I am Willa Cather's slave. Edith, Lincoln freed the slaves. Oh, but I don't want to be free. I just want to be with you. I love serving you. That's very flattering, Edith, but I have a friend, Isabel, who lives in Pittsburgh, and when the time is right, I hope that she'll join me here. Well, until that day, and maybe even after, I will be your dutiful slave. How could I resist? Eventually, we rent an apartment together just off Washington Square. I let her arrange everything. She takes the maid's room. After 8 months of working at McClure's, I get my first big assignment. Miss Cather, go up to Boston and write a biography of that Christian Science woman with Mary Baker Eddy. Oh, Mr. McClure, that charlatan. Get to the bottom of it, Miss Cather. So, I go up to Boston to do interviews and research. It's there that I'm introduced to a wealthy widow named Mrs. Annie Fields. She lives with a famous writer named Sarah Orne Jewett. I mean, openly. Imagine that. And no one seems to mind. I decided I'm going to try some of the Christian Science stuff on Isabel. Before I write to her, I do one of those prayer treatments, and I picture her packing her bags and moving to New York. I mean, I see it, I feel it. Then I write, Isabel, they call it a Boston marriage. We could have that. She replies she needs more time. So much for Mrs. Eddy's theories. Miss Jewett takes me under her wing. Willa, don't try to emulate Henry James. Write from a female voice. Write from the land that was under your feet when you grew up. It's time for you to forge a new path. You must find your own quiet center and write from that to the world. Yeah, I know she's right, but what am I going to write about? Where do I begin? Then, after a trip to London, I suddenly get inspired. I phone Isabel. I've got an idea for a book about a Boston construction engineer having an illicit affair with a British actress. Oh, my dear, you must write it. Yeah, but how can I without you to inspire me? Well, I had an inheritance from my mother. We could go away together. That's it. I resigned from McClure's. Isabel rents a cottage in Cherry Valley, New York. It's there, in 1912, that I write Alexander's Bridge. Oh, I hope it's as good as anything Henry James ever wrote. And although the New York Times praises its brilliant conversations, I know there's something wrong. It's passionless. I mean, a male leading character, it has nothing to do with me. Why didn't I listen to Miss Jewett? I make up my mind to write from my own experience. A heroine will speak to and for young women like me. Not some socialite like Henry James writes about, but a common girl from the prairie. Nobody's written a book like that before. So I write 2 stories of the prairie, Alexander and the mulberry tree. No, neither of them stands on its own. Then, in a flash of illumination, I suddenly realize they belong together. Well, that moment is like an inner explosion that brings forth a form that is not plotted but designs itself. I mean, I write night and day, can't stop. I'm carried away by a rush of emotions. With Isabel by my side, the words just pour out of me. Finally, in 1913, my second novel, Oh Pioneers, comes to life. I've hit the home pasture at last. When Willa Cather finally returns from Cherry Valley, I'm so happy. But then she writes letters to dear Isabel almost every day. She asks me to mail them. Sometimes I do. And read them. Dearest Isabel, I live to be with you. Don't worry about Edith. I'll tell her to move out. All this time, Isabel visits frequently. When that happens, Willa Cather just drops everything. Sometimes she tells me to go stay with my friend Mildred. But what is worse is when I'm there with them together. They spend long hours in her room, lying in bed, reading Balzac and Tolstoy together. Willa Cather hardly even notices I'm alive, and Isabel must think I'm one of the help because she's forever sending me off on errands. Oh, go fetch some fresh fruit, and oh, pick up a paper while you're out. What can I do? She's Willa Cather's muse, so wealthy and glamorous. I wish I could inspire her, but I'm just her secretary. I mean, who would ever want to write a book about a nobody like me? One day, in 1915, I received a telegram. Isabel's father is dead. Hallelujah! Her mother had passed away a few years before, and her father was the only thing keeping her in Pittsburgh. Well, I rushed there. Finally, the moment I've dreamed about for so long is about to come true. After the funeral, I wait outside the church. I strike up a conversation with one of the violinists who played at the service. Oh, I enjoyed your sonata. Judge McClure loved Brahms. Yeah, he did. Oh, you knew him? I spent many happy hours in his home. Giving concerts? Oh, no. I am Jan Hamburg, his daughter Isabel's fiancé. Fiancé? But Isabel is planning to move to New York. Oh, no, she's not. Just then, Isabel comes out the church door with some relatives. I grab her arm and pull her away from them. Isabel, this man claims to be your fiancé. Well, yes. Why didn't you tell me? I'm sorry. I was going to. You lied to me, betrayed me. I didn't mean to. Jan seizes my arm. Leave my fiancé alone, madam. Mr. Hamburg, I'm sure you realize that Miss McClure is about to become a very wealthy woman. That is none of your affair. Isabel, don't do this. We're being married next week. I'm sorry. Jan forces me into a waiting cab. Good day, madam. As I pull away, I stick my head out the window and yell at him, "May God strike you dead, you fortune hunter!" I don't sleep or wink the whole time Willa Cather is gone. I'm terrified she's going to come back and tell me to pack my bags. Finally, Willa Cather returns home. Oh, she looks like she's been to hell and back. How was the funeral? Oh, grand affair. A lot of big wigs. When is Isabel coming? Never. What do you mean? I never want to hear her name mentioned in this house again. Why not? Isabel is dead to me. What are you talking about? Oh, for God's sake, Edith, shut up! I don't want to discuss it! Oh, I'm so sorry, Willa Cather. I didn't mean to upset you. Please, don't be mad at me. I don't understand. If you must know, Isabel is getting married. What? You heard me. She's marrying some no-account Russian violinist. He is a Jew. Oh, could I give you a hug, Willa Cather? All right. I give her a little one. She hugs me back so hard I think she might crack a rib. But I don't tell her to stop. Time stands still. Oh, finally the moment I've dreamed about for so long has come. She lets me stroke her silky gray hair for a long, long time. And then we go to her room. Oh, thank you, Isabel. A few weeks later, Isabel writes Willa Cather a letter. I open it. Oh, I know it's against the law to read somebody else's mail, but after all, Willa Cather did say that Isabel was dead to her. It was just some silly nonsense about can't we be friends and forgive me, but I need the love of a man. Oh, please, it took her 10 years to figure that out. No, poor Willa Cather barely sleeps or eats. She spends long hours in her room just staring at her typewriter. I'm to write Isabel a letter pretending to be Willa Cather. Isabel, I don't love you. I love Edith. Stop writing. P.S. I know you henna your hair, you Jezebel. I hate Isabel for hurting Willa Cather. On the other hand, now she's mine. All mine. Oh, this bliss goes on for months. And then Isabel comes back to haunt us. She and Jan invite Willa Cather, not me, to visit them at the Shattuck Inn in New Hampshire. I jump at the chance, even if he will be there. I need her to inspire me. I set myself up in the garret of that old inn and get to work. With Isabel by my side to give me her brilliant ideas, I tap into my creative powers once again. I type a blue streak as Isabel pats the sweat off my brow and strokes my hair. I mean, everything just flows. We're a team again. Once I asked her, are you happy with him? Oh, Jan is a good man. Yeah. What's good about him, I couldn't say. Nevertheless, it's there, with Isabel's love guiding me, that I write my Antonia about my neighbor's old servant girl, Annie, back in Red Cloud. And even though things will never be the same between Isabel and me, I can write again. And I pour my love for her into that book. She had only to stand in the orchard, put her hand on the little crab tree and look up at the apples, for you to feel the goodness of the planting and the tending and the harvesting. All the strong things of her heart came out in her body. She was a rich mine of life, like the founders of the early races. Isabel says, "Oh, my, it's a love story to the prairie." And to you, Isabel, it is our child. She sighed. Right after that, Isabel and Jan moved to France. Thank goodness. and Willa Cather writes her first bestseller, one of ours, about her cousin who was killed in World War I. One afternoon, she gets a very important letter. This time, I let her open it. She gasps. She had just become the second woman to win a Pulitzer Prize for literature. Oh, congratulations, Willa Cather. You're the most brilliant. I've got to cable Isabel. One Pulitzer. Stop. Please. Come to ceremony. Stop. She replies, congratulations. Stop. We'll discuss with Jan. Stop. I'd like to thank the committee for honoring me with this great award. I am very grateful to have been able to follow my dream of becoming a writer. It is a privilege to be an artist. What is any art but a mold in which to imprison for a moment the shining, elusive element that is life itself? Life hurrying by us, running away, too strong to stop, too sweet to lose. My parents are there, beaming. Of course, Edith is grinning from ear to ear. But Isabel's nowhere to be seen. Jan didn't see fit to let her come. So my success is bittersweet. But it does open many doors for me. I'm asked to give lectures, appear on the radio, and teach at universities. It even inspires me to write more books. But they're not filled with the same emotions as when my darling Isabel was by my side. In 1930, the Hamburgs invite me to visit them in France. It's been 7 years since I've seen Isabel. When I see them together, I try to tell myself everything's fine, but Isabel looks pale and she drinks many glasses of wine with dinner. But the worst part is, she says she's too busy to help me write. I spend long hours alone in my room trying to get inspired. All I can come up with is, when kindness leaves someone, we become afraid of them. We fall from security into something malevolent and bottomless. Jan spends more time with their pet parrot than he does with Isabel. And he's always name-dropping. I mean, who cares if he knows Albert Schweitzer? And all day long he saws away on that infernal violin. Mr. Hamburg, would you mind stopping? Would you mind stopping the way you look at my wife? I don't know what you mean. She's a married woman, Miss Cather. Why can't you accept that? Well, I can't just turn off my feelings. Your feelings are a sickness. I end up leaving early. When I get home, I mope around the apartment. Edith tries to cheer me up by convincing me to take a trip to the Southwest. It's there that I get the inspiration for my next book, Death Comes to the Archbishop. I try to keep my spirits up. I write, where there's great love, there are always miracles. One night in 1936, Jan phones me. Oh, Miss Cather, my wife wishes me to inform you that she is in hospital in Chicago. Her kidneys are failing. I rush there. I make sure she's got the best doctors. I never leave her side. And then when she goes back to Europe, Edith and I follow. I nurse her as best I can. But things go from bad to worse. One night, she calls me into her room. I'm sorry, dearest Willa, that things haven't worked out. shall remember you fondly. You're everything to me. Please try to hold on. No, I don't think I can. Isabel, you've given me so much happiness, as you have to me. Now, go tell Jan to come in. Goodbye, Molly. That night, my darling, beautiful Isabel dies in Jan's arms, not mine. I write in my diary, it matters not who we live with in this world, but it matters a great deal who we dream of. I would dream of Isabel every night for years to come. I never want to write another word. The movies are after my books. I know they'll butcher them. I tell those bastards to go to hell! Then on top of everything else, someone smashes my hand in a drugstore door. Now, even if I wanted to, I cannot write. Isabel's dead. I don't want to go on. But she does go on. Yes. Her next book, Sapphira and the Slave Girl, is based on a true story about how her grandmother helped a slave girl escape and find freedom. Actually, I wrote it. Well, she dictated it to me. And as we finished, I broached a delicate subject. Who are you going to dedicate this book to? I don't know. I haven't thought about it. Well, Willa Cather, you know you never dedicated a book to me. Yeah, that's true. Well then. I don't think I'll dedicate it to anyone. I tried. Other than a few short stories and essays, it was the last thing she ever wrote. And then, on April 24th, 1947, I just hate telling this part, it's so sad. Willa Cather suffered a fatal cerebral hemorrhage. As I clutched her hand in our bedroom during those last terrible moments, she whispered in my ear, "Edith, burn my diaries, my letters, all my personal papers. If they find out who I really am, they'll ban my books. It will be done." A few moments later, the greatest writer who ever lived went to her final resting place. Heartbroken. But these inspiring words I read in her diary comforted me. I was something that lay under the sun and felt it, like the pumpkins. I did not want to be anything more. I was entirely happy. Perhaps we feel like that when we die. Become part of something entire, whether it's the sun and air, or goodness and knowledge. Oh, I'm sorry, Willa Cather. I I didn't burn your diary. I just couldn't bear to deprive the world of your great writing. No matter what you think you did wrong in your life, your words will live on. A shining, elusive element that is life itself. Oh, but I did burn Isabel's letters, yes. and almost everything else, including the letters from Jan where he called you those bad names. Oh. I am fortunate and blessed to have known Willa Cather. She had her writing, and I had her. And when my time came, I got my wish, and I was buried at her feet. Now, we lie together under her immortal words. That is happiness, to be dissolved in something complete and great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow.
That was awesome, Tina.
Oh my goodness.
Really.
Such talent. Your monologues are just incredible.
Oh my goodness gracious, you had me totally. All your characters. I don't know how you do that in one person, but you're
Never alone.
never alone.
She's a chameleon. In a minute.
Honey, thank you for sharing.
That was in 2010 at the Cherry Lane Theater. And I don't know if anybody knows Don and Margaret Euchre, but they were.
Yeah.
Don hated it.
Oh no.
He couldn't get it. you know.
I get it. That's funny.
How do you know? Is there a story about that?
Margaret told me.
He's kind of old school, I guess you'd say. Would you say?
Very old.
Very old school. Margaret, on the other hand, she got it right.
He got it, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't ready for the new woman.
No, Margaret
No,
learned
wasn't
about
ready.
Papa through
But you got to admire Cather. I mean, she just had such a spirit.
Oh my goodness. What
You know,
guts.
she
Way
had to
ahead
give
of
up
her time.
transgender identity, but you know, those were different times.
Oh my gosh, what a lonely course through
Yeah.
life. God. Wow.
And then when Isabel married that man,
Jerk. Oh.
didn't tell her.
Well, it sounded like she sounded, well, I guess bisexual, yeah? I mean,
Yeah.
she wasn't.
It was what it was.
I'd say she was more of an opportunist than
So,
Yeah.
Could be.
well, she had money. He was the opportunist.
What? He was the opportunity.
He was the opportunist. She had the money.
Did she
Yeah.
have children?
No.
No.
But the way Edith and Willa sounded like they were having a relationship the whole
Oh
time.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But it was
Kind of settled for Edith.
exactly kind of a second best.
No, she
Poor
was
Edith.
very
Poor Edith.
worshipful and did say, I am Willa Cather's slave.
There you go.
And she always called her Willa Cather because to speak her first and last name wasn't.
Wow. So how did you find all this out? Where was,
I did a lot of research.
Yeah.
I guess.
Oh,
Yeah.
probably turn this. Oh,
Oh, do we want to return the recording off?
yeah.
Shoot. You see at the bottom, I can't. You see at the